The Reno City Council met in a special session to determine how to meet a $5 million shortfall in this year's budget. The city is facing another $30 million shortfall for the coming fiscal year beginning July 1st. City Manager Donna Dreska says it's a structural deficit that needs a long-term solution.
The revenues are not going to be there. We have an organization that's built upon revenue levels that are no longer being realized, and in order to get to a structural, the organization has to be restructured, and services need to be evaluated. Those have to occur.
The council approved staff recommendations to use money in reserves, a spending freeze, a short-term loan from the stabilization fund, and a reduction in force to balance the budget.
It understood that nobody on this council enjoys laying anybody off, and we're trying to find out how we can work on things and how we can do them together. Nobody knew the worm was going to turn like it has. I know some very strong financial people that never knew what it was going to do. We don't like it. We need concessions. We need to work together, and we want to get them.
The city will lay off up to 200 employees. There are 32 retirees and 62 empty positions. Management will notify employees who are losing their jobs on April 16th. The council deferred making a decision to lay off more employees to balance next year's budget.
We are still working to balance the budget. We are $30 million out. We have not closed that entire gap. We will have the full impact and the changes at a future workshop. As I mentioned before, no area is being untouched. There are parts and services that we have provided in the past that we will have to look for community support and volunteer support to assist with. I think that is common across most cities across the nation. We're returning to our core services while trying to also maintain a city that is attractive for business to locate to.
Reno Council member Dave Iazzi voiced his frustration with the lack of union concessions during the city's economic crisis.
You know, one union won't take a cut unless another union won't take a cut. They all seem to point the finger. In discussing with me, you guys always point your finger at each other. I'm not taking a cut if those guys don't take a cut. And how do I know that if those guys take a cut, then I'm not going to get... I hear that all the time. Just even today on a social networking site, someone said they should all go get in a room and figure out what should happen and bring something forward to us that they would all agree to. I've said this before at public meetings. It's never happened. I appreciate the cuts that people have made in the past. The thing that was brought up today was $1.2 million. That's a 2.8% reduction in salaries. We're looking at a 25% reduction in C-tax. It's not realistic. We promised last year, and I think this council has held to its promise, that if nothing changed, we would not have any layoffs. Things changed.
By laying off employees this spring, the council will save millions towards closing the gap in next year's budget.